Hello and welcome. This video goes over the accessibility checker in Microsoft Excel. I'll explain what each error means and how to fix it. But first, you should know that no accessibility checker addresses everything, so it's best to use more than one. Make your content fully accessible in the original software, then check again in Canvas using Ally or Panorama. Since mistakes happen, it's important to understand the basics of accessibility rather than relying only on the checkers. Let's get started. All right, so here I am in Excel with some information I've made as an example. In order to get to the accessibility checker, you can click on Tools, check Accessibility, and it will show up on the right-hand side. Or you can check the Investigate Accessibility button at the bottom here. So the first thing that we have is hard to read text. I have three issues. It's highlighting this dark text on a dark background, so we can see the issue there. It recommends some options. You can choose even more. You can change the fill color of the cell itself, or you can click to format the cell font, which gives you the option to change the color, border, fill from there. I'm just going to use one of the recommendations and make it this light gray, and it changes it all at once, all of the issues at once, so that's great. Next is this light blue text on a light blue background. I will just make it a darker blue, and this gray text on a gray background. Just the text can just be darker as well. And that fixes all of our hard to read text contrast. So this next one, it says avoid red formatting. I click on that, I can click on this question mark to learn more. So it says that using red color instead of a negative symbol to indicate negative numbers makes the content inaccessible. Users who have difficulty distinguishing colors may struggle to understand whether the numbers are positive or negative. So you never want to use color for meaning for that reason. You can click to the format cells option to choose one of the numbers to indicate that it's a negative number instead. Next, we have missing alt text for this chart that I have created. Some software allows you to auto-generate one or to generate a caption. I have my own, so I'm going to copy and paste that in here. It says pie chart titled 1970 comparison, and it lists the percentages for each of the energy production. And I actually copied and pasted this image into Copilot, asked it to create alt text for this image, and it did. Usually Copilot does a pretty good job at generating text. I copied and pasted and made my own edits, and that did well. Using AI for alt text is great. It makes the process easier, faster. So I'm going to click save. I could mark it as decorative, but it is important to the context of the material. Okay, so next section we have is tables. So I do want to point out that none of these tables are actually formatted as a table. It says that I have no missing table headers. I'm not entirely sure what it's doing to determine that because I do have missing headers. So for this table, for example, I have two of the four columns only have a proper header. The first row of any table needs to have proper headings. If I add day and time, now I have a proper header row, and then I can change the text so I won't have an issue there. Same over here, there's nothing here. I will need to add date, and I can change this to a darker color so I won't have an issue with the contrast. Post editor here. So if I do select this table and click format as table, it's going to ask me if the table that I already have has headers. It does. I'm going to click OK. And then it creates a header row for me. And if I didn't have a name there, it's just going to put column 1 or column 2. So when I use a screen reader, it's just going to say column 1, column 2. So it creates the headers for you. With this table, I'm in home, click format as table, and I'm going to uncheck that my table has headers. And when I do that, it will create a header row on top of your table. So whenever you actually format a table as a table, Excel will automatically give you a header row, it seems. Next, we have use of merged cells. So it's indicating this merged cell. We have 4 rows that are merged. I can click split cell and it will split it automatically into 4 different rows. And now it's saying that that is good as well. However, I have a merge cell here where Monday is. So if I click on the accessibility tag, click on merge cells, it will break it up into the 2 rows that it ought to be. And I will input Monday and change the font color to avoid contrast issues. And so the last thing we have here is document structure. If I were to create another sheet, then it's going to say that I have an issue with default sheet names. So I can rename it. Maybe I will rename this energy, click enter. And then it's asking me to rename the other one as well. And then that fixes having a default name. Obviously, if you have multiple tabs, you want the title to make sense given the information that you have. And according to Excel's accessibility checker, we have no more issues and are good to go.
Okay, so post editor here. I went back to Excel because remember I said that I didn't even format these as a table, yet Excel said that everything's okay. So I went back to test it with a screen reader, and lo and behold, the screen reader will not read a table that isn't formatted as a table correctly. You can just go through the cells. It doesn't let you know that it's a table. It won't let you know what these numbers are associated with, versus if I actually formatted it as a table. I can give another short example. And I use VoiceOver by Apple because I'm using a MacBook.
Currently on is table 1, H5 in day, no filter applied, time, no filter applied, task slash notes, no filter day Monday, time 9:10 a.m. You are tasks topic class, column 2 date. You are currently on a cell, column 3 total production, column 4 coal percent product, column 5 petroleum percent product, column 6 natural gas percent, column 7 F5, column 36.3, column 540.
Another good example to show that not all checkers will address everything. And also, you never really know if your work is accessible until you test it with assistive technology. The most common one being a screen reader and using keyboard navigation. So I just wanted to throw that in there. It said that it was fully accessible, but like not really. So gotta have some discernment when making content.
That's it for this video. If you want to know the basics for how to make all your documents, PowerPoints, and tables accessible, check out this video. Thanks for watching.